We're over halfway through 2025 and already it's been a cracker for PS5. What better excuse to discuss our personal games of the year so far in today's episode of the PlayStation Access Podcast. Hello and welcome to the PlayStation Access Podcast, the official podcast of PlayStation UK. I am your host, Rob Pearson. We are joined today by Rosie Caddick.
Hello, everyone.
And David Jackson.
Hello.
It's July.
Yeah.
Woo!
Insert obligatory, I can't believe half the year's already gone comment here, but I really can't believe half the year has already gone. And I say that as a man who's always annoyed by people who are surprised by the time.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. And I can't believe how hot it is, which I think is similar, it's long similar. Like, it is the summer. Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to get hot.
Yeah.
It does it every year. And I'm annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Every year.
It's that week at the moment where
Too hot.
sleeping's difficult in the heat, isn't it?
Yeah. Last night was a tough one. Last night was a tough sleepy
It was.
one.
It was.
Tough sleep.
Well, British small talk out the way. The other cliche I'm going to trot out right at the beginning of this podcast is the old, wow, it's been an amazing year for games already and we're only halfway through the year. But it's true. Like, I think in 2025, more than possibly any year that I can remember, I think if the year finished now, I would still say this has been an amazing year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For PS5 and for video games in general.
It's been a disgrace for my backlog,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah.
Like this year, I've got so many games added onto the backlog just from the past 6 months. Like, I'm annoyed about it because it's big enough as it is, and then it's like, oh, well, this is actually a must-play game. This is another must-play game. We've got another must-play game here. It's like, well, I don't have time for all the must-plays.
A sequence of just massive open-world adventure games. Since February, it's just been one after another.
Yeah.
And then physically, I don't think there's unless you can just wake up, and this is the dream and what I did at university.
Yeah.
Wake up, play games all day.
I need to be 14
Go
again.
to sleep. Yeah.
That's what I need.
So anyway, to mark the occasion being that over half of 2025 has now gone by, we're going to do like a halfway game of the year. Our game of the year for 2025 so far.
Yeah.
But because there have been so many brilliant games, we're first of all going to talk about our nearly game of the year 2025 so far.
Yeah.
So we're each going to pick one game for that. Then we have collected a series of comments from you, our wonderful PlayStation Access community, where we're going to shout out some of your 2025 games of the year so far before we dive into our actual 2025 game of the year so far.
Dun-dun.
Are you still with us?
Lots of games, basically.
Lots of games.
Are going to
Lots
be
to talk about.
spoken about. So we will kick things off. Dave, I'll come to you first.
Yeah.
What is nearly your 2025 game of the year so far?
Nearly my 2025 game of the year so far. And honestly, I've got two in my mind and I'm like, you got to make the choice now. And I've made the choice now. And the choice is Splitgate 2, which I don't expect either of you have played, but I would think...
I've seen you playing it at your desk.
That's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. Work. That's work. That is. I'm working, if you see that. I knew that at some point I'd be asked about Splitgate 2 on a podcast, and I thought, well, I better
get the
do some more work
experience,
then. Yeah, Splitgate 2 came out earlier this year. It's a sequel to Splitgate, and it's basically an online-only multiplayer shooter, but it is an online-only multiplayer shooter in the way that I like, which is a little bit slower. Okay, a longer time to kill.
Slow down.
Everyone, slow down. You can take more damage. Everyone moves. It's more similar. It's less agile. It is agile. There's jumping, there's sliding, but it's less agile. It's a little bit more forgiving in that way, and it's a game that I personally found I could pick up and play quite quickly. Mm-hmm. As an older person, some of the some modern FPSs are really hand-eye coordination. Mine is going a little bit, but this I found I could still get in there, and I could I could give a good game.
Well, you get it where you get shot and you just die instantly quite a lot of the time.
That's not this game, in my opinion.
I don't think that's an age thing. Literally, I'm like listening. I'm like, I, as soon as I go into any modern like competitive game like that, I'm just down.
Yeah, but you're having a good time anyway, Rosie. Whereas
Yeah.
I'm like going, what? I didn't even. Something wrong with the camping. It's internet.
Lag.
Yeah. So but its big thing. I should explain. Is an online multiplayer shooter in a kind of futuristic world. But it's different, or it's like USP, which is very cool, is it has portals. Like you have a portal gun. So within the level, you can set an entrance and an exit just on like certain surfaces, and those surfaces are everywhere. So really anywhere you want, and you can go through enemy portals, and you can destroy enemy portals as well.
I remember seeing trailers for this now, actually, and thinking it looked really awesome.
This is cool because surely it turns on its head the whole advantage gained by knowing a map really well.
Absolutely, and I think my experience anyway is. I feel like this is going to run, and people are going to become amazing at this game. And watching it, you know, you watch some like esports players of it or something, and just be like, I didn't even comprehend. Like watching an Astro speed run, you're like, I didn't even think that would be possible. I think it's going to get there. My experience is, first, I just come in and I barely use my portal gun at all because I'm just like, I'm getting to grips with the game, and you can still have fun. Certainly at the level I'm playing, you can do that. You can go in and you can largely ignore your portal gun. But once you start to use it, once you're comfortable with the shooting and the sort of general idea of the game, you start to use your portal gun, suddenly this whole other game appears where you can feint with it, you know, you can lead people into traps with it. You can just go around destroying other people's portals and get them stuck in places. I love shooting people. You can shoot people through portals.
Oh, that's nice.
It's huge. It's huge what it adds to the game. But what I really like is that it's not like, I felt like in the early days of Fortnite, I didn't know how to build, and that kind of built me out of the game. I was like, I don't know how to do this. I don't feel like the portals do that. Certainly not at the level I'm playing. I think maybe in like a year's time, maybe it will be. You need to know how to use portals or else you're dead. But it feels like an extension of the game and like a sort of natural progression, and it's great. And in Splitgate 2 this time, one of the big things is they've added a battle royale, and I just like the format of a battle royale. So, you know, it's just a nice, fun format and it works really well in this world with the portals, and you kind of go into these different areas, and you're picking up lots of, you know, weapons. It's a good way to find to understand the weapons in the game that you'll unlock in multiplayer and things like that. And it's a much bigger, you know, big maps, which is maybe a kind of unusual in the rest compared to the rest of the game, and I just really enjoy it.
With the battle royale format, could it like, you know, when you're basically in the final stretch and there's just like two of you left, for example. Does that not just become a massive game of hide and seek with the portals? Like, because you can have a portal on one end of the map, and if you see someone, you're like, oh no, I'm going in the portal, and then be on like the other end of the map and keep on like swapping between the two. Well,
yeah, I mean, but that's, you know, obviously you have to have a line of sight to make a portal. So you could put a portal here, and then you could wander through the map and put a portal somewhere else. But then that's why you know, being able to destroy someone's portal means then they wouldn't be able to go back, if they wanted to go back, they'd have to actually go there and put a portal there. So it's, you know, it's overcome that stuff. I think
can't play hide and seek.
I know. Well, you can as much as any other battle royale, but you know, all battle royales come to this point where they're like, at some point, we will need to have a winner.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I think it does it well. It suits it really well.
In Portal 2, I used to like putting a portal on the ceiling and then a portal on the floor.
Yeah.
And just getting myself in like an infinite loop of falling down.
So good.
Could you do that whilst shooting?
I believe you could, yeah.
Splitgate 2?
I'm pretty sure that there's, I think that, you know, they probably haven't built walls that you can get into an infinite loop necessarily, but I've seen certainly using them to propel yourself. You can fall into a portal to shoot out of a wall somewhere else.
Yeah.
So yeah, and whilst shooting, definitely.
I used to love doing that in Portal.
Yeah.
I loved it. And
So
I love
much.
seeing it when the ring slightly always changed a little, like it just sort of rotated a little bit as you look down. It was just very cool. Love Portal 2.
Yeah. Portal
Wow.
2
I
is
think you sold
excellent,
me on
and
that.
so
I had no
Splitgate
idea.
2.
I had no idea that was the thrust of Splitgate 2.
Oh yeah, it's really good. Oh great. Well, maybe I've got a team. Maybe one person.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Probably not.
I mean, I'll
Rosie,
join. Hello.
let's come to you now.
Yes.
I know this is going to be hard for you.
I know, literally, I've got 3, and like even for my runner-up, I'm just like, oh.
What is your nearly nearly game? I'm nearly going to say the words. What is your nearly game of the year for 2025?
My nearly game of the year for 2025 is... I can't do my nearly, but my nearly game is Elden Ring Night Rain, which has...
I thought that could have been game of the year.
Well, that's the thing, because I was even talking to my fellow Nightfarers, Kevin and Kirby, about this. Shout outs to Kevin and Kirby. We finished it last night, by the way.
Congrats.
We were like, woo! But we...
Who's Kevin and Kirby?
They're my two friends who I've been playing Night Rain like non-stop with. Literally, we've got to the point we've got a little group chat and we've been sending each other memes. There's been guide shorts, things
Friends, is it?
Well, you know other people.
You guys, I mean, Rob, you haven't delved into Limveld since you won with The Guardian. You should come back.
I've been playing other games, Rosie.
Exactly. You don't have time for me with my little Night Rain party.
No.
Alex stormed off without me. Alex already got the platinum for it ages ago.
He did do that quick.
He did. He was very quick. But I was talking to them about it, and I was like, is this becoming my game of the year? Just because it has completely grabbed me in its grasp, in its hook, like. You know, I went from at first playing the game being like, oh my God, this is really hard. And getting to grips with it and learning more about it. But when you pretty much defeat like that first boss and you fully understand how the game works and you're all like, you know, you go from, oh my God, I'm panicking. This isn't like Elden Ring. It's fast paced. I've done like, oh my God, I've got to plan this, this and this. When you pass that barrier, now I've gone from staring at the map thinking, oh, where should I go? And then the ring closes in. Two, now, I don't like it when we're running for a long amount of time. I'm like, we should be killing something.
Yeah.
I'm like, we need to be fighting something, leveling up. But it's just been so thrilling, like, going into the fight areas, seeing what's in Limveld, like with the boss's weaknesses, and then basically just building yourself up to try and get to yourself as good as possible to defeat that final boss. And there's even been moments where you start a run and you think, this is going terribly. This is all absolutely rubbish. But you know what? Let's just do it for a bit of knowledge. Let's just learn how it goes. And even when you go in there doing a terrible run, that could still be the run that defeats the boss. Like literally, I think last night we did a run where I was level 9, someone else was level 10 and someone else was level 11, and we were like, oh no, this is bad now. Like when we did the first boss, we would have been like, oh, that's a really good level. Now we were doing like the ice dragon boss, we were like, that's terrible. We were like, we need to be level 14, level 15, minimum 13. So that's the thing, again, like learning and progressing with it. But you know, we still gave it a shot and we were able to do it with our collaborative efforts. But that's also because we had good like weapons to go against the weakness of the boss and stuff. And the bosses have all provided like their varying challenges as well. Some of them have definitely been a lot tougher than others. I hate I'm going to say it wrong, but like the Equilibrious Beast, which is one which has loads of like just ranged attacks and it's really strong and powerful and it can teleport. So literally if you're trying to avoid it and then he just goes, bye, hello, and then literally just spawns and just stomps on you with the way it just appears where you are. Hated that fight, but when we finally did it, I was fully screaming. That's the thing as well, I think, because playing it with friends, when you all do it together and you finally defeat the boss, that it's such a wonderful feeling where all of you are cheering, all of you know your hard efforts have come through, like people have been knocked down and then you're all just chatting saying like, oh no, focus on the boss or don't come for me yet, and it's like, oh no, I'm dying, is anyone able to get me? And then it's just a really fun collaborative effort.
That was what I was saying.
What's happened to Rob? My God. Are you becoming a Night Rain boss?
He's becoming a Night Lord.
Rob, the croaky one.
The croaky one.
What I was going to say is, that was my line all the time, which was, forget about me. Forget about me.
Yeah.
Go and fight the boss, because I was just dead all the time. Just leave me alone here to die.
Well, sometimes though, like genuinely, it is more beneficial to like just sadly leave someone there. Like if you've got two parties, like if you've
sadly leave. It's more beneficial to sadly leave.
But everyone knows this. If you're on the final boss and you've got your two mates like crawling on the floor and they've got because there's a health system that when they're knocked down, you've got 3 bars that you need to attack them in order to bring them back up.
Yeah.
If they've got like those 3 bars and I mean, I played a lot with as Eye, who's the archer. Like, there's no way when I've got this aggressive boss just staring at me, chasing me down, and I'm there with my arrows going like pew, pew for like 3 bars, and the boss has like a slither of health left. There's literally no point in me going for my friends when they also know that if we defeat this boss, we all win. So then it becomes a case of like, you know, the drama is exemplified because your 2 mates are watching you as they're crawling on the floor and you're just focusing one-on-one with this difficult boss, seeing that slither of health just going down, and you're just begging, you're like, please, please, just go away, end it all.
Just die.
Yeah, just die. It's just been so thrilling and so fantastic to like go into the world of Limveld and just plan, because it's all randomly generated, so you never know what you're going to get. You could go into a run and then literally there's nothing which has like the element of the boss's weakness, and then you're like, oh great. But you could still win the game if you like, you know, come at it from a different angle or just focus on different things. Or hey, you might get lucky and go into just a camp that has no weakness element to it, and you might just get lucky and get a weapon that coincidentally does have that weakness, or you fight a boss and it just accidentally does have it. So it's just been so much fun, and I think literally playing this collaboratively has really that's been the thing that's really like exemplified it for me. It's just been so fun, literally just being involved in a game so much that I'm thinking about it at work. My phone is filled with, like I said, memes and jokes and tips and things like that, and we're all learning together. It's just been such a great time. And, you know, even when I started playing with randoms as well, that moment when you're playing with randoms and you're all in like sync and you're just like all doing it and you're just literally communicating from pinning on the map, that's a great feeling as well. Although I don't like it when you've got that one person who, when they're on the map, they just pin, but they go like tap 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 tap, ping 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 ping, and I'm like, we know we're getting there. We're literally running there now. Like tap 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 tap.
It's like writing in caps.
Yeah. But I write in caps all the time, but that's because I'm excited.
Maybe that's why they're
going,
pinning.
yes, come on, friends.
I mean, it could be that as well, but yeah, I've just enjoyed it so much more than not that I thought I would. I knew I was going to enjoy it, but I didn't think I was going to get this gripped by it. Like, it's just been an absolute blast, and I've loved it.
It's interesting that you've both picked multiplayer games so far.
Yeah.
Big year for multiplayer games.
It has been.
I'm about to talk about a not multiplayer game for my almost game of the year 2025. My almost game of the year 2025 so far is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Yes.
Which came out back in February, I believe.
Age ago.
Age. And when it came out, I honestly thought, wow, this is
Whoa, this is
What's happened to Rob
this is
today?
my game of the year already. Like I honestly thought, like, I can't, even though it's only February, I can't see anything else being able to knock this off my game of the year perch, because I really liked the first Kingdom Come Deliverance. The sequel is so refined and everything has been improved wonderfully, and it got the critical reception it deserved this time. I thought really well received. And it's sold very well as well, which is great to see. But it's the same sort of core gameplay as the first one, where you start off, you play Henry of Skalitz, who is a low-born peasant, I guess you would call him in the first game. But after the events of the first game, he rises through the social ranks a little bit. But then at the start of the second game, events happen and he finds himself right at the bottom of the food chain again, and you've got to work your way gradually up. You start the game pretty much with nothing, not even any clothes. You're there just in like your underpants, all muddy and covered in blood, and you know you got to earn everything. And I find it quite invigorating and quite refreshing in that the game doesn't pander to the fact that you're the protagonist. And quite a lot of RPGs like this will, you know, I think we spoke about this in our coverage for it and on our live stream for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. You know, you'll do a mission and everyone will immediately be chanting your name and dancing around and giving you all the cool weapons and the armor. It's, oh, you defeated that thing? Well, have a house in the city, and this can be your base. You can live here, you can sleep here. It's hard just to find somewhere to go to sleep in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Yeah.
All you want to do is go to sleep and rest up and heal.
All I want to do is go to sleep.
You've got to find an inn, and even then it's not guaranteed. If the innkeeper doesn't like the look of you, they will just refuse you entry.
Yeah.
Like, even if you have the money, it's like, I got money for a room. Not dressed in those clothes, you haven't.
Yeah.
So if you're dressed in rags, if you're dirty, and I really like the fact that, it's not difficult in terms of like an Elden Ring difficult where the fighting is particularly hard. I mean, there is quite a sophisticated combat system where every encounter you have has a little bit of an edge to it because no fight is easy. But every decision you make and everything you do in the game feels like it has consequences. And that is really, it adds like a degree of drama and urgency to everything you're doing in the game. Every system you play with and come up against, whether it's just bartering the price of some food, or going out and doing a quest and trying to kill some wolves, whatever it is, everything always feels like if I do this wrong, if I choose wrong, this could be absolute curtains for me. And if you're injured, it's not a simple case of just downing a couple of potions. Like I've had instances where I'm like a good mile away from the nearest town, hardly any health left, the screen all red because I'm covered in blood, hobbling along, trying to desperately make it back to the inn before nightfall or before I run out of health or before I, starve to death. Because, you've got hunger as well. You've got to eat, you've got to sleep. And it's a really unique, I think. I mean, other games have done this, but it's a really unique challenge, I think. And incredibly satisfying when you pull it off and you start to progress through the game and get better armor, get better equipment. You start leveling up your proficiency in various, your
skills.
Your speech can go up. Your proficiency with swords and shields can go up, and besides that, it's just, I think, incredibly beautiful to look at as well. Like it's a really quite grounded, subdued color palette. It's based on real life history, so it's set in Middle Ages, early 15th century or early 16th century, I think, Europe, so like Central Europe, the area that's now the Czech Republic. And you visit real historical places, you encounter actual people who've existed in history. You play as a fictional character, Henry of Skalitz, but it's just that satisfying thing that Assassin's Creed does, where you feel like you're actually learning about history as you're playing this game. And I really enjoy all of that. Like I remember watching a video online where someone was talking about the detail in just the clothing and the coat of arms on each of the characters and how realistically modeled it is in terms of, okay, so this item of clothing means you're of this certain social status, and all of these things that you don't have to interact with or notice, but when you do, and if you do appreciate those things, you get like this real rich, textured, deep role-playing game that is just, it's funny as well. And there's Farkle, the dice game, which you can just sit and play in a tavern for hours and have a great time.
I literally have no idea how that game works. Like, I've edited Access videos, and I even remember when we did the Christmas Maze challenge and you played it, Dave.
Yeah.
I was there and I was like, I don't know what's going on. There's just dice rolling around. Is that good? Is that bad? Hey, let's go.
It's a great game.
I'm going to go and rewatch that now, Rosie, and listen to you cheering me on in the knowledge you're just like, I don't know what's happening. Yay,
dice,
go on, Dave.
Go on, Dave. But you were so involved with it, I remember. Like, you guys were just so invested, and I was just like, they're doing a good time. They're having a good time.
It's a great mini game. I love a mini game, and it's, as Rob says, it's one of those mini games where you could just play that the whole time. It's great and clever. And I do always do a big sigh now because of what happened in the Christmas Maze.
Well, you can make friends by playing dice with people. That's a way to ingratiate yourself to the people of a tavern. Just find a tavern and there's someone playing dice, and it can be a very intimidating world. And when you find a nice little cozy tavern with a fire going and someone's just sitting in there playing dice, you're like, I just relax for a little bit. The sound of the dice rolling around in the wooden tumbler, the sound of them clonking onto the table, it's very, very pleasing.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the game.
And realistic. And as much as that is a real thing, like making friends with people over a shared thing. Yeah. And also like people, using like an inn or something for a little break from the reality of like, closing time, you've got to go out. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to sleep? How are you going to survive?
I really do love that. Every village feels like, on that stream we did where we decided to end it by like,
with violence.
Can you go on a murder spree?
Yeah.
I was incredibly impressed with the reaction of the NPCs to my changing behavior. So I started just randomly attacking people in this village. And I wasn't like swarmed by guards or police. Like I managed to kill a couple of them. Everyone else ran away.
Yeah.
Like all of just the regular NPCs in the tavern, they all ran away. They ran to the neighboring village, and I came down like a medieval Terminator to the next village. And everyone was like running into the inn, and the people in the street being like, "You're that murderer.
Yeah.
You're that." So everyone's like reacting to your actions in like
wow.
a really realistic way, and I really liked that. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was good.
And the combat is brilliant as well. Like I had that fight with those two bandits just randomly on the road.
Yeah.
Just two bog standard bandits, and just the excitement that comes from those fights, because you've got to really pay attention to the position of your opponent's sword, get the parry right, get the riposte right, be paying attention to your stamina, and I guess like it feels like when you beat a hard boss in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
When I kill a bandit in Kingdom
It's
Come
'cause it's
Deliverance
high stakes,
2,
though, isn't it?
It is high stakes. It just feels great. You land that precise stab right in their face or whatever it is that completely takes them out. It's like, yes, I'm
Sword
alive.
in the face.
I'm still alive. I can't believe it. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good. And I'm sad that I'm not talking about it as my actual game of the year so far of 2025, because I think it deserves it.
Yeah.
But there was one other game that I played that I just think is one of the best things I've ever played. So, which we'll be talking about later on. But yeah, I've waffled for ages about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Those are our 3 nearly game of the year for 2025. We've got a collection of comments here from our community, each talking about their favourite games of the year so far, which I'm going to read out now. Some of them will be games we have already talked about. Some of them will be games that maybe we'll be talking about in the second half of this podcast. Some of them will be games that we won't be talking about at all. That's how things like this go.
Different opinions.
So the first comment comes from Callie Misfit, who says, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, a masterpiece. Final Fantasy X was the last game I played that hit me this hard. Tomorrow comes.
Oh, tomorrow comes.
Tomorrow comes.
We continue.
See, yeah, I mean, this is top of my list, top of my backlog list. But the Tomorrow Comes thing, I know it's a French game, and then it makes me think of Les Mis. Tomorrow comes, which maybe no one else knows, but that's a famous line at the end of.
I need to
Les Mis.
rewatch Les Mis, actually. I need to rewatch that. I need to see it in the theatre, actually. I just need to see
You
more
do.
of
It is a
it.
very French game, and that's one of the things that is great about it.
That's one of the reasons I really want to play it.
It has like a real just vibe and flavour, and it's I mean, you know, we're not going to talk about every game on this during this section of the podcast, but we could talk about Expedition 33 for ages. Georgia says, my choice is Split Fiction, which is an amazing choice. The level design, creativity, and ability to draw out collaborative skills alone is enough to put it into top spot for me. I can't count the number of times I stopped to marvel at the beautifully crafted worlds. I'm partial to the fantasy ones. Or simply to say wow at the different scenarios the game puts you in, with unique skills and teamwork incorporated into every section. My friend and I entered a state of pure communication during the bomb-throwing minigame for the trophy.
Yeah.
Dr. Hakim would be proud of our collaboration.
Yeah, Split Fiction is phenomenal. That Split Fiction was my one where it was like, oh, runner-up, is it Night Rain or is it Split Fiction? Because they were both like, they're just both on par and they're fantastic. Have you guys finished Split Fiction?
The only reason I am not going to be talking about it as my game of the year so far is that I don't think I've played enough of it yet, because I'm just going so slowly through it with my partner.
Yes.
But I love it. I mean, Rob and I played it a little bit here in the office and for a stream, and it's just great. Like
I played
instant
things in
fun.
that game that I couldn't even conceive of.
Yeah.
And was just my mouth open at what was happening on the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole set piece on the bike.
Yeah.
The whole bike, amazing. And that bit where one of you, it was me, who was trying to do the
phone.
capture thing on the phone whilst you were desperately driving the bike. That is just genius.
It's just great.
I think that's the beauty of it. It's like so it's got incredibly comedic moments, such as the moment when one of you is trying to unlock your phone and you have all of these security passes and tap the squares with all of this, that, and the other in it, whilst the other person's trying to just drive frantically. So it's like comedically, it's got loads of good like co-op jokes in it.
Yeah.
But it also just constantly gives you things to do. The pacing of it is so like go, 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 like brilliant action set pieces. And then like in the sci-fi world, and then even when you go into the fantasy world, it's like, oh my gosh, there's like dragons now. And even in the moments that are slower paced, like there's a whole time that where you're like just in a little magic village, and you can literally just roam around and you can just ride on a snail for a bit, or you can just roll, like there's a massive like ball of yarn or something like that, and you can literally just roll it on the floor for a bit. So it's definitely like the moments where it kicks off and it gets going, you're like, oh my god, your adrenaline's pumping and you're working together and it's great fun. And then even in those calmer moments, you're just both having a really nice time, just having a laugh, having a little chat whilst you explore. And I think it's great as well because it covers so much stuff. I mean, we've all seen like the pig moment from like, even if you haven't played the game, you've probably seen it in the trailers. There's a moment when you're like some pigs, and that literally pops up as a little side quest whilst you're in this high action sci-fi world. So you literally go from high sci-fi world to then you're just some pigs having a nice time. And it's also probably got one of my favorite like just creativity bosses. There's a level which I don't want to go in too much, but where one of the characters kind of goes, it's like, yeah, I hated this as a child, and literally seeing this boss, it's like, oh, it's so creative, so good, and it's very funny as well. And also the game's got really like touching moments as well. Like one scenes I was genuinely started welling up as well. It's just got that beautiful balance of you're having a great time, but then when it does, again, like I said, you're having a great time, and then in those slower moments you are like, you do care for the characters, you care for their stories and how they come together, and their friendship grows. It's a really, sorry, I've been
Rosie,
talking about this long enough.
You can't have a nearly
it's a nearly game. I've just realised how much I've been chatting.
This is George's moment.
This is George's moment. Sorry, Georgia, but I completely agree with you.
Me too. And I reserve the right for this game to be my game of the year by the end of the year.
Right.
But
well, we'll come back to that in December.
Exactly, yeah.
But I think it's very much have your cake and eat it, the game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just the whole structure of it.
Brilliant.
Two writers, one who likes sci-fi, one who likes fantasy, and they're just playing through all of their ideas.
That's
some
the thing.
unfinished ideas.
That's the best thing.
Which mean you just get to, from a development standpoint, you imagine how liberating that must
Just
be,
have some fun.
making this game, knowing that if you've got an idea but it's not fully formed, you can put it in the game and it works within the structure of the narrative that we've built. Genius.
Yeah.
Spider says, for me, Blueprints has been a surprise hit.
This was my nearly.
This is your nearly.
Yes.
Oh, I love a nearly.
Yeah.
This puzzler looks so simple at its core, but there's so much more to it than that. The depth to this game is huge if you're willing to explore and dive into this wild story of a 14-year-old boy trying to gain his inheritance and learn about his family's past. I've loved many games this year, but Blueprints keeps me coming back for one more run, and that's not even getting into the challenge runs. I have not played Blueprints. I keep hearing about Blueprints, and every time I hear about it, I'm like, really? You're making rooms, and if you make a toilet, it's game over?
That's not strictly true.
I don't understand what people are telling me about, but I get that it's one of those games that you probably just have to play, and that it's magical if you do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I love it. We've talked about how much I like mechanics. This is a very mechanical game in lots of ways, but it's one of those brilliant mechanical games that actually has loads of story depth, and it's like it's all there for you if you want it. But if you don't, you could have just quite a kind of mechanically fun time, which is it feels very tabletop in a way, and you're basically exploring this mansion, but every day the mansion resets, and when you open a door, you choose one of 3 randomly generated rooms to be on the other side of that door. So every day your mansion is completely different because you open a door and it's like, oh, what will it be this time?
Yeah.
And you're trying to get to a certain point in the mansion, and rooms have buffs and debuffs. So some rooms have items in them that you need. Some have like certain bonuses that will only happen if you then get another room later on. So it's like the very first run you have is so wildly different to the 10th run you'll have, not just in terms of what you are, what the actual layout of the house looks like, but in terms of the way you think about the way you make the choice of what room should I put here, and the way you understand how one room will influence another room that you might get later on. It's difficult to explain, but that's another part of its genius, is that it is kind of difficult to explain, but it's so simple. And when you start playing it, you instantly understand, like, okay, get from A to B, and every time I open a door, I have to choose one of these 3 rooms, and then you start to see what that means. It's great.
You can't have a nearly, Dave.
No.
This is Spider's moment.
Yeah. Rosie would still be going.
I know, literally, Dave did a lot better than I did. Well done, Dave.
Right. Crumpet's next. And Crumpet says...
Not played that one.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
there you go.
I agree. It has everything from the first game, but better. The world is gigantic, and yet every single part of it feels alive. Agreed. Right down to the smallest detail. The story is grounded and interesting, but everything you do feels like it matters. It's exactly what an RPG should feel like. An excellent opinion from Crumpet there.
Nice.
I'm Just Ben says, I loved Citizen Sleeper 2. A literal sleeper hit.
Oh.
It's a beautiful follow-up to the 2022 hit of the same name, following your character as they try to make a life for themselves. The game really nails the feeling of all of your choices mattering. Lock that in with a D&D-esque dice rolling system behind your choices that nails that perfect just one more roll ideology, and I don't think I could have asked for a better game. I ended up sitting down and beating the game in one session.
Oh, wow.
A rarity for me. Thank you for that. I'm Just Ben. I have not played Citizen Sleeper 2, but I do like a nice D&D style dice rolling
Yeah, that sounds
mechanic
like a lot
behind.
of fun.
I haven't played either, and I'm very interested to give that a go now.
Yeah. Tails says, I'd have to say, The Legend of Heroes Trails Through Daybreak 2, as it rekindled my love for the series and how engaging the gameplay and world building is. It's one of the most underrated series I've ever played that deserves more recognition for its extensive storytelling. I feel like from Tales that's a little bit of a dig at us, maybe, for not talking about this series enough on the channel.
Yeah.
There's so many,
I've had a
many
few
of
comments on Friday Features occasionally. Why don't you mention ever this series of games?
I've not played every
Not played ever.
Maybe there should
I'll
be
try.
there's a series in that, Tales of Rob's Tales
Yes,
adventure.
Tales of Rob's Tales.
7 games
Oh.
I've never played before. That'll
Yes.
be the next Friday feature.
Well, you could spin that out for quite a long time. I
I
think.
could.
Wait.
Tales also has another, a nearly.
Nearly.
Tales says, I would have said Lies of P Overture if I could, but that's just a DLC expansion.
Don't get us into that.
Don't get us into that.
Game of the Year DLC situation.
That being said, the story of the DLC just broke my heart in two, and I loved the addition of a ranged weapon, as that came in handy quite a lot.
Oh, I haven't played Overture yet. It has a ranged weapon in it. Oh, that's
Well,
so handy.
You just spoilt it for Rosie Tales. Benjamin says, I have to say, Oblivion Remastered. I've never played the original, but I loved
Oh, wow.
Skyrim and was not disappointed. What I love is the freedom in the game. I ignored the main quest line and did almost all of the side quests. When I finally beat the game, I particularly enjoyed the Dark Brotherhood quest line.
Do you know what? I just didn't even comprehend that someone might not have played Oblivion before playing Remastered. And I'm angry now, because it was nice for me as someone who loved Oblivion. It's like, oh man, Oblivion's back. How great. But this is like, if you've not played Oblivion before,
It's just a free,
It's
just Elder Scrolls out of nowhere.
just a new Elder Scrolls, like, oh, and it's great. It's amazing.
This is when I just slump on my chair like I never played the original.
You didn't play the original.
No, I know. Well, I missed it when it first came out on PS3. I didn't know that it was. I don't know how. Just in my gaming library, I just didn't know it was much of a thing. I didn't get introduced to Elder Scrolls until Skyrim. And that was when all my mates were like playing it, and they're like, "Oh, you've got to hear about this." And then it was after that. That's when the Oblivion, like the clips of the memes and all that stuff came out, and then I was like, "Oh, this actually looks like a really engaging game. Like, not only does it seem like amazing with the funny side of it, but actually looks like a really good adventure."
Yeah.
So that's why actually a remastered is good. Like, I've played like the intro of it for Capture at Work, but literally that's my first experience with Oblivion, and I can't
Oh,
wait to
man.
dive into it more.
That moment of coming out of the prison.
Yeah,
It's an
it's the
all-time
best.
iconic moment.
This game looks unbelievably beautiful as well, Oblivion Remastered. Oh, I've not played enough of it. at all. So
Yeah.
that's another one I need to dive back into this year.
I literally saw like the Gates of Oblivion for the first time.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
only the other day because I captured it for a video and I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's a really daunting looking gate thing. I was like, oh, I can't wait to.
When I played it the first time, you have to go through a gate first to sort of explain, and then I would come across them in the open world. I'd just go past them all the time. Too scared.
Same.
Too scared to go
Same
through.
here.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not going through there. It's like hell in there.
Yeah, I mean it literally is. Shall I stay in this lush green world with the mountains
Yeah,
and the
exactly.
lakes, or shall I
Sunshine
go
and-
into actual hell?
Yeah.
Oh, what
just
am I
stay out.
feeling?
Fight
Stay
some
out, yeah.
demons.
Yeah.
Whitby has commented with 3 simple words: Astrobot DLC.
Hey!
And I got to say, those have got to be some of my favourite gaming. By the time this podcast goes out, there will be some more levels
Yeah.
added to Astrobot.
Yeah. I hope Whitby's been practicing.
I hope he has. I saw him at 25th place on one of the leaderboards recently.
Really? Wow.
Oh, double digits. That's a shame.
That just goes to show how intense like
Oh, for sure, yeah.
the pro players are with this. It's like, oh my gosh, what?
Yeah.
My daughter's beaten my time and Rosie's time now on Spring Loaded Run.
Really?
She's
Yeah.
got so good at Spring Loaded Run that I'm not sure I actually got it in me now.
Yeah.
To beat her time.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I said to you
difficult.
when you messaged me with that wonderful picture of her with her time. I was so proud of her, and literally because I got my time when we did the stream challenge, and I used to remember saying like, I can't do any more. And now Ella's done it. It's like Ella's become my opponent.
Well, she was quite nonchalant about beating my time. She was like, "Daddy, come in here. There's something you're not going to like seeing."
Oh, great. I'll come through.
And she'd beaten my time, and then I went back to cooking dinner, and about 5 minutes later, I just heard this scream. Oh my God! I was like, what's happened? I've beaten Rosie's time!
Oh my God!
She was like running up and down the lounge, just couldn't believe it. I've beaten Rosie! I've beaten Rosie! Take a picture, send it to Rosie!
Do you
I love that
remember
so
when
much.
you made Jay cry by beating him at FIFA?
Yes.
Is it wrong if I'm like, I want to beat Ella's time?
See, I
Go on, do it.
behind the scenes, I said I was like, you know what, Ella's a legend. Like, well done to Ella. And Rob was like, no, you should beat her time.
You must show her who's boss.
Like,
No,
you-
she needs to learn.
She needs to learn.
She needs to learn. You can't just swan on in and get one good time on one level and think you're great.
she's gonna go through all of them now and like just batter our times one at a
The
time.
trash talk that I get from her now whenever I try and play Spring Loaded Run.
Yeah.
It's like, I wouldn't do it like that.
Oh, that's failed. You should restart there.
Why don't you try and
Restart.
do one of the other 10 levels or 9 levels that I've still got a better time than you at? Hey?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it bedtime? It is bedtime.
Exactly.
It's 11 a.m. on a Saturday.
Right. So thank you very much for everyone for all of your comments. Please do keep them coming. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a comment. Let us know what your game of the year so far is. And we're about to reveal finally what our actual game of the year for 2025
My
so far
goodness.
is. Dave, coming to you first. What is your game of the year so far?
My
2025?
game of the year so far, 2025,
2025.
is Atomfall.
Oh,
Hey, great
Anfall,
pick.
yes.
Yeah.
And I haven't played all the games. Just I'm not.
Well, I don't think any of us have.
No, that's true. But Atomfall, and my time at the moment is shorter, having become a dad. And Atomfall, I just made time for it. I found it. That's one of the things I loved about it was an instant fit for me. I instantly fell in love with it. The kind of structure of it is very like a warm pair of slippers. You instantly get you're just thrust into the mystery of it. It's so Moorish. It's like, go off and find out what's going on and what's happened. And the gates are a bit like Oblivion. The gates of the sort of bunker you're in are flung open and the world is at your feet. And from there, it's quite open how you do things. And this is one of the things I really loved about it is that it's you have an objective. The objective's not really marked very. It's not like just go here and do the thing. It's kind of, it's like it's a bit more suggested. You're hearing things around. You're picking up tidbits of information, and seeing this. I think this world is just fantastic looking. It's like weirdly ethereal post-apocalyptic lake district with, you know, the remnants of like a war almost. So, you know, there's like helicopters crashed, and there's bunkers, there's old farmhouses in ruins, there's like a strange like power station-y thing, and all under the kind of cover of this beautiful ethereal but weird and, you know, scary sky. And it's just like, what is going on here? And I just found following the story just so brilliant. It's a little bit scary in places, I think, which I didn't expect. Like there's a real sense of anticipation and like fear. I think that, you know, the exchange, which is kind of the central to the story and to the mystery of the game, is like a wonderfully eerie place, and I loved exploring it, but I did find it scary. But also it wants you to feel that way, and it doesn't want to break that tension with simple scares and things, you know. It doesn't. I think it builds a sense of atmosphere, but without cheap tricks and you know, like, a rat runs past, or it's just sort of, it's a constant oppressive kind of feeling of, I don't like it in here, and I don't know exactly why I don't like it, and what is here. It's got the best bartering system in any game ever, and I do think that's important. I really loved it because it just feels part of the actual world, which is all these people are trapped in this place. Money is meaningless, so all that has meaning are the things that you have. So if you've got a grenade, what do I have that you want so that I can have the grenade? So it's done in a menu, but with like a kind of scales. So you take something out of your friend's inventory and put it on the scales, and that kind of weighs them down, and then you start putting things from your inventory on the scales until you reach an accord.
Oh, I've seen these scales, and that makes sense of how it works.
The scales of agreement.
I think that's a really great in-game system.
Yeah, that is nice.
Like, and I think it's a really great, because it's in world, it makes sense as well. That's what bartering is, isn't it? Like I really want that grenade. Like, okay, well, what am I going to get?
Yeah.
And then you have like things that you keep to
I guess
sell.
you could give them a punch in the face and then loot the grenade off their
You could do that.
corpse.
Yeah, you could do that, probably.
Yeah.
And actually, this was another thing I really liked about the game, was it felt very old school in this way. I didn't discover this until I streamed it with Nath. I'd already played a chunk of the game. We went back and streamed it from the start, and Nath kind of offhandedly got me to attack somebody who is actually like a major quest giver in the game. So one of the first things I did in this stream in my game was kill a major quest giver in the game, and the game was fine with it. There was no message. There was no like,
game over.
You've killed an important character. You can keep playing, but your game is ruined or whatever. There was no game over. It was just like, okay, well, you won't be getting any. It didn't even tell me that I'd killed a major quest giver. I just know that because I've played the game. And I really like that.
I do love that,
It speaks to its like that openness that I talked about. It's like you can cut yourself off from whole chunks of the game.
I did do that when I was playing it in my preview. I can't remember the name of that lady who lives in that house.
Yes, I remember you saying.
And she gave me a little quest, like a little fetch quest, and I was just trying to figure out the game, and I threw a grenade at her.
How does figuring out the game lead
I
to
wanted
that?
to see if I could kill quest givers, and you can.
Right, okay.
And it just, a little message came at the top, and I can't remember how it words it in Atomfall, but it doesn't say mission failed. It just says like lead.
Yes,
over.
Your
lead is ended. Your lead on that quest resolved. Lead resolved.
Lead resolved.
Lead resolved.
Yeah, there was no more information to get.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just quite matter of fact about it. It's like, how would you like to proceed with your game?
Yeah.
But I also like there's a very sort of larger than life theatricality to the world, isn't there, in Atomfall?
Yeah.
Like it's not taking itself too seriously.
It's not
there's
at
like
all.
There's like a Doctor Who. I think that you can find quite a few Doctor Who Easter eggs in it as well.
I'm sure you can.
if I'm not mistaken. But it's that kind of vibe.
I think it's exactly right. And I only have a little understanding of Doctor Who, but I think it is that. It's really British. Obviously, it's set in Britain. The characters are British, but it's really British in that self-effacing kind of tongue-in-cheek. It does not take itself very seriously. And I think that thing about killing quest givers and that being fine, and about the openness, I think ultimately it just kind of really respects the player. It's not very handholdy and it just like, it kind of understands how people play games and the stupid things we do and the fun that we have doing them. And it's just like, you can do that if you want. It's great. And I think I'm really excited for Rebellion, whose games I've enjoyed for years and years, but it feels like this one's really broken through to a new audience.
Yeah.
And perhaps they have a whole new, a whole new world to explore. I don't know, but it's great. It's really, really good.
Excellent. Rosie.
Yes.
What is your game of the year for 2025 so far?
My game of the year for 2025 so far is Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which is why we didn't talk about it earlier.
I thought you were quiet, yes.
For once I was quiet. Yes, this game absolutely blew me away. I went into it knowing that I love turn-based RPGs, and I was just like, oh yeah, like I'm just really looking forward to a turn-based RPG. And I was not expecting it to hit me in the way that it did. Like, from the very introduction already, like even when I booted up the blooming menu and you just hear the music amongst like just the title and a couple of...
The music's amazing.
The music is probably I think it's like the best music of the year so far in games. It's phenomenal, and the music just carries so many like just scenes and moments. I mean, literally with the introduction to the game, like literally at the very beginning, there's an incredibly sad moment, and I've watched it multiple times, and each time I have at least got the lump in my throat. And I fully did that thing where like, you know when you're trying to be tough when you're like watching a film in the cinema or something, you're trying to be tough and you're just thinking in your brain like, oh, of course the film did this or something like that. You're just trying to basically be like, oh, you're not getting me, film. I see through your ways. I was like trying to do that with the intro for this, but literally as soon as just that music then just kicks in, and like I was one moment I was holding it in and I heard someone be like, and then I was like, and I just like exploded in tears again. This was like the third time I saw the intro. But the music is just phenomenal throughout. And it has like just, not only is it just these beautiful like emotional pieces, but also it's got some really upbeat banging tunes. Like literally there's one theme tune for a character who's like bow wow wow, and it's great. It's a very good song.
Fight music's good as well.
The fight music's good as well, like the drums kicking in when you're fighting in like the gestuals in the arena. It's just, either way, the music's fantastic. The story of it is phenomenal. It's I mean, I know there's still people who are still playing the game, which is why I don't want to talk about it too much.
Started playing the game.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, because I still get messages from people saying like, oh, I've finally, because like that's the thing. We've all got the backlog, like we were saying. There's so many games, and people have said like, oh, I've finally got time to play it. So I don't want to talk about the story too much, but the way that it tackles the story and covers the themes that it wants to cover, and how the writing is done to express like so many I guess sort of like relatable weirdly moments. Like there's always a stage where everyone goes through similar things that these characters go through, I guess, in like a wider scale of things. It's really hard to talk about without trying to spoil things. But
indigestion, I'm guessing.
Indigestion, yeah. Like when that character hits the indigestion, it gets you there. But it's just beautiful, and it's one of those games that when you do play it, like I had people playing it and then they're messaging me about it. At the moment, I've got friends still sending me voice notes about where they are in the game, and literally even when they're talking about it, you have to be like, okay, what act are you on, first of all, to make sure that I don't say anything that you haven't done yet, because it just keeps on going. And even when you think you've got comfortable and you get to grips with everything, it will flip everything around, and then suddenly you're like, okay, we're going this way, wow, okay. And it's just filled with mystery as you're going through it. It's like, what's going on? You go in with one task, and then suddenly it's like, actually, no, this could be your task now. It's just so good, and the characters are just so wonderful. SKA, I love him. You might have seen him, Dave. He's like the big, massive one.
I watched your video.
Did you watch my video?
Yeah,
I love him. I love him very much. He's literally probably, I just want to give him a big hug and just, just be by his side the whole time. He's lovely. I wish he was my best mate in real life. And the combat is really engaging and fun. Like, you go in there thinking, oh, it's just going to be like just a fun old turn-based game. But the way that it's got the dodging system and the parry system.
It's like Final Fantasy X meets Sekiro.
Yeah.
Is how I describe it.
Like when you first start and you're like, oh God, I can't get the timing of anything. So you start doing your dodging and then you start thinking, no, I want to start parrying now. And then when you do get the parries and you get that perfect and you counter, it's bliss.
It's the most satisfying thing ever.
Yeah,
Just
it's
that animation, that sound when you get the perfect parry and you do a cool counter attack. It's delicious. And they've also got as well this Picto system, which is where you can basically give each character some perks. And I love how the game has fully embraced how they're like, yes, for example, Mael, she's an incredibly strong character. And if you like look through the Pictos and plan your character build, literally I know people who have defeated end game bosses in one hit because of how they've built Mael and put the Pictos on and learnt the skills. And with these Pictos, when you've learnt them, you can apply them also to different characters with a point system, which is very Final Fantasy IX. I think it's so inspired by so many RPGs, but it also does like its own like unique things as well. It's just really fun with the Pictos specifically to like mold your build of character and approach things in different ways. Like my friend was telling me that they had this build and I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like I just completely missed that. And I thought I studied all the Pictos I had, but there's so much to play with. So literally the game is fun with its combat, music is phenomenal, story is engaging and really like just gets you in the heart. And visually it's a stunning game as well. Like it's just visually so pretty. I know everyone says like, oh, it looks like a painting. And I say it like that because literally everyone does, but genuinely it does feel like you're in this world and like this painted world. And I just want them all to be frames in my house. But yeah, it's a phenomenal game. And I think there's a big reason why we heard from Alex, a lot of our community members have chosen it for their game of the year as well. So I think it's a safe bet to say that even come December, this is going to be a lot of people's game of the year.
Yeah.
It's that good.
Well, come January this year, last January, it was my most anticipated game of the year. Maybe. Let's say it was. I definitely mentioned it on the podcast. And all I wanted to say really was that it's interesting how it felt special right from its reveal. And I'm so glad that it's come through and has lived up to that expectation. But I'm sure you will remember there was something about it. I think it was a Gamescom, or maybe it was a different time. But right away it just came out with this the story, like the boiled down world story is so interesting with the paintress and painting a number and everybody. It's like, what is going on? I'm so fascinated. I have to know. And then the combat system again, as someone who isn't very familiar with like JRPGs or turn-based RPGs, it's not a game that should have caught my eye in the way it did, but instantly I was like, this looks amazing. I don't know why exactly it looks amazing, and it's just really great. Now I still obviously haven't played it and I don't know for myself, but I know obviously everyone's talking about it. Rosie's picked it so far, a lot of our community have picked it, and it's I don't know, I just love that a completely new IP right from its reveal has grabbed everyone's attention and has really like come through at the end. It's a lovely story.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those games that as you're playing it, you can't stop talking about it, and once you've finished it, you can't stop talking about it. Yeah. Like it's that kind of impactful experience, which is fantastic. Like, love it.
But we do have to stop talking about it.
Yes.
Because I'm now going to talk about...
I was going to say, speaking of can't stop talking about it.
Oh, man. Death Stranding 2 on the beach, I think it's one of the best games I've ever played.
Ever?
I think it's underrated, criminally underrated. And I know that it's been reviewed very well. I think at the time of recording it has a 90 on Metacritic. I think that is a travesty. It should be way higher. I think this is an absolute masterpiece. I think it's Hideo Kojima's best game since Metal Gear Solid 3, so we're talking 20 years. The longer I sit with it and the more I think about it, the better a game I think it is. Like, there's so much, it's so layered. There's so much you can think about with this game. There's so many themes it's tackling. It's clearly a game made by an incredibly talented team at Kojima Productions, helmed by Hideo Kojima, who, so much has been said about Hideo Kojima, one of the most famous, if not the most famous game developer of all time. You could call him an auteur for sure. But the way in which he has helmed this and the way he's put across his vision, there's you can see a difference between the Hideo Kojima that's made Death Stranding 2 and the Hideo Kojima that made Metal Gear Solid, for example. So he was I think he was about 30 when he made the first Metal Gear Solid, which makes me feel like a complete failure. How was it made that age 30? But there's there's an energy and there's a youthful exuberance and an excess, a deliberate excess and an eccentricity to the Metal Gear Solid series, particularly with the cutscenes. Hideo Kojima cutscenes are often talked about. They last for a long time. They're really flamboyant. Loads of ridiculous stuff happens in them. Dave, you probably remember Revolver Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid 3,
Very
constantly
much so,
twirling his guns around. That character of Revolver Ocelot sort of symbolises Kojima in the early stages of his career for me, knowing how good he is. He knew he was good, and it's like a little bit of showing off almost in that. But there's a melancholy, mature Hideo Kojima coming out, I think, with Death Stranding 2. The cutscenes in this, I think, are the best directed, most wonderfully acted, most incredible looking cutscenes I've ever seen. I could watch a movie of this any day. It would be incredible. None of them outstay their welcome. It feels like not restrained, but there's a realization and I think a reflection of his past work that Hideo Kojima is doing here. And it's just, he's at the top of his game. He really is. And I think everyone will take something differently away from the story. I can't really talk about the story without spoiling it, so I'm not going to. But it deals with some very dark stuff. And the game is built in such a way that it gives you the space to reflect upon those things. Either you can reflect directly upon the events of the game, or I imagine many people will resonate with the game in various different ways. There'll be things that are happening to the characters that people will resonate with in real life, and there are huge stretches of it where you're just walking from place to place through this impeccably beautiful scenery, and a melancholy piece of music from the soundtrack will play, and you basically get 90 seconds to a minute to just think about whatever you want to think about, or to just be present in the moment, enjoy the sound and the visuals, which you can also do. But as well as that, it's filled with silliness as well. You can wear an otter hat, which lets you float in the water. There's funny sunglasses you can pick up. There's loads of little tags or what would you call them? Things that you hang on your backpack, little keyring style things, and they each give Sam a different buff when he's out in the world. It's full of celebrity cameos and it's very gamey. A lot of it's very video gamey, and Hideo Kojima doesn't shy away from that. But there are so many layers to it. I think the cast of characters is one of the best and most lovable cast of characters that I've hung out with. In any kind of big, I guess I wouldn't call this an RPG, but it feels like that. The crew of the Magellan just are amazing. I think Norman Reedus is absolutely brilliant in this game, and I think it's a video game performance you wouldn't get unless we had the sophistication of the performance capture technology that is in this game. So much of Norman Reedus' acting is done through his eyes. He doesn't say much, but just his little eye movements, a little twitch of his mouth, and you can see so much in that. A character will ask him, I think early on, a moment that really got me a lump in my throat was when a character asked him, they said something like, do you have a family? And Norman Reedus, or Sam, is not looking at them directly. He's sort of looking at the ground, and he sort of mumbles, not anymore. But it's delivered with such weight, and if you've played the first game and this game up to this point, you'll know what Sam's been through, and that just completely caught me off guard. And there's a sequence towards the end of episode 10, which I'm not going to talk about, but absolutely floored me just through trying to interpret it symbolically as well, what it was talking about. Then on top of that, you've got the actual gameplay of it, which at its core is this really satisfying, I almost think it's like a puzzle game. It's a cargo management game where you've got to work out how to get all of this stuff from this place to that place over the obstacles, and you've got so much freedom when it comes to planning your route. And then you've got little pockets of like stealth combat as well, which are really refined from the first game. There's so many fun gadgets and toys to play with. So you can play it as like, you can play it however you want. You can play in a vehicle and drive through an enemy base and have like automated machine guns strapped to your Jeep and just like blast your way through. You can sneak your way through and knock everyone out, or you can not engage any enemies, just sneak in, steal the stuff and sneak back out. It looks impossibly good, like almost photorealistically good, and the music is absolutely wonderful. I know you said Expedition 33's music is amazing, Rosie, and I agree. But I think this is my favourite soundtrack for many years. Like Ludwig Forsell, the composer who's returned from the first Death Stranding game, but also Woodkid, who's made like a whole new album of music for this game. It's amazing. I don't think it is. I hope that in years to come, it'll be looked back on as the masterpiece that I think it is. It's not just my game of the year 2025 so far. I think it's one of the best games I've ever played. I put it in my top 10 of all time, I think.
Big statement.
So good.
Big statements. I know. I'm looking forward to delving into it. I'm literally playing Death Stranding 1 at the moment to then play Death Stranding 2 straight after, hopefully. If I've got time, we'll find out. But yeah, can't wait.
It's a special one. Let us know in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube. Please comment what your game of the year so far for 2025 is, and thank you to everyone who's already commented.
You can comment on Spotify too.
And you can
We're just not so
that's
good.
Great.
We're not so good at checking those comments, but you can, and please do, because I do look at them.
And Dave looks at them. Dave will see them.
Yeah.
And messages on social media as well, if you like.
Yeah, why not?
And yeah, thank you very much for listening, for watching, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time for another episode of the PlayStation Access podcast. Bye for now.